pisses me off. Not because I'm soft. I'm not soft. But if you want to wrestle, let's wrestle. If you have a problem with me, let's settle it. If you can't beat me on the mat, try to beat me in the parking lot. But if you can't beat me on the mat, I doubt you can do much to me in the parking lot.
The previous administration took all the guys. Wink, wink.
I just want some ice cream, man. I just want some ice cream.
Welcome back, folks. As always, I'm Reiter and Schares alongside Mack, Reiter, and this is the Shots Fired podcast, bringing you episode 13. And Mack, it is proven that our show is getting some reach. After watching Final X this weekend, Bill Zadek listened to us and did not button the top button on his suit coat for the awards this weekend.
I think that's pretty impressive that we were able to influence Final X State College from all the way over here in the Midwest.
And it was pretty early, too. The first appearance he made, basically, we were influencing it. So
I'm wondering, I doubt Bill Zadek listens to our podcast, but I'm wondering if maybe Joe Russell had to put a little bug in his ear.
You really think he did?
No, I don't. I think it was purely coincidence, but we're going to run with that story and say Joe Russell put a bug in his ear and was like, hey, I got to get you back for that time when I got to help you out after I put that tough skin on the bottom of Burrow's shoes that beat the streets. So when you told me not to, so I'm going to point out that I think some people are noticing you're getting a little tight up top.
Okay, well, early leader in the clubhouse for episode titles would be something along the lines of, will you listen to this podcast, Bill Zadek, or something like that.
I bet you won't listen to this.
Probably not. No, I don't think so. Well, he might not be listening, but it sounds like we got a lot of listeners last week, so it sounds like we suckered a lot of you Hawkeye fans into listening again by putting something Iowa-related in the title.
You put Dan Gable's name on something, and Iowa fans are going to listen.
We're just on episode 90, and it's like Dan Gable part 43. Just see if we keep getting people to listen. Eventually, it's going to run out, I think.
I'll keep coming up with new stories.
Okay. All right.
I may have to make some new ones. Yeah. We'll make them up, or I'll find a way to create new content.
It's not like we're done going on adventures either. Maybe they're not quite as frequent, but, there's still time for new stories to develop.
You wait till we get to the folk style season, and I'm traveling the world, or the globe.
With your 10-gallon hat on.
Yep. Supporting anybody that's wrestling Iowa.
All right.
That was that was a good time, though. I don't know if you guys remember or heard about that, but I wore a giant foam orange 10-gallon hat to the Iowa-Oklahoma State duel that was in Kinnick. And people didn't, it went over actually better than a lot of people thought. I was told from a lot of my friends to absolutely do not do that. I was like, oh, they'll get it. They'll think it's funny. And I thought it actually went over pretty good. I had one guy take it off my head and try to, rip it apart. But other than that, it went pretty good.
So you're getting some bad advice from your friends. I would have said, no, wear a bigger hat.
Yeah. No, I don't know if there are bigger hats. This thing is massive.
I still haven't seen it. I'm very interested to see this hat.
I'm surprised we didn't take any pictures that weekend.
Yeah, that's smart.
Then I went out to the tailgate lots and changed all my Minnesota stuff for the football game.
That didn't work out very well for you, did it?
Neither one of them did, no. I was on the losing end both times.
0 for 2. I think I saw, my brother and I went down for that. We were walking back to our car because we didn't stay for the game. But there was I guess I want to call it a gopher, but it was probably just a dead squirrel laying on the side of the road. And somebody put a sign next to it, I need 2 tickets. And I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was an outstanding day, man. The weather was perfect. It was really, really fun to be down there. And, essentially you're tailgating for 14 straight hours. It was a pretty good time.
Yeah, that's too long, almost.
We went to the Vine. I didn't actually go to the football game. I went into the Vine. Naturally, I go right to the main Iowa wrestling bar, but we went there, watched the game, and it got a little long. We had been drinking for probably too long for the day.
and that was your update on Grapple of the Gridiron. event that happened a year and a half ago. Okay, on to some somewhat more recent events here. We had the Final X #2 at State College. You had a chance to watch pretty much all this. I watched quite a bit of it too. What were your thoughts on the second one?
It looked like, I haven't seen the attendance numbers, but I thought it looked more attended than Nebraska did, just from a viewer's perspective. I thought the fans showed up pretty good. I guess maybe it just looks better because that arena is not big.
No.
And it's dumpy. that place is, I don't know if you probably have never been in it, but it sucks. No, there's nothing else to it. Like that it's old and terrible for watching wrestling because the sight lines are awful, but, and you're just like, you got to warm up underneath the bleachers. It's just, for a visiting team, it was not ideal to wrestle in it. But.
Under the bleachers, did you even have like mats out there?
No, like when we were warming up, you just like had to like bounce around, and then, the space back in that little hallway wasn't very big, so then you'd come out behind the mat and the fans are just right on top of you. So you got like, and Penn State just has like the oldest fan base ever. And so you got like these 80-year-old guys like heckling you. And you're just like, what are you talking about, man? Like guys that probably used to like heckle Gable when he wrestled in there, or, like they heckled Dan Hodge when he wrestled in there. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't really care for that place, but like, I know they love it because they can just jam it full, and, it only holds like 5,000. So they fill it up pretty easy, and then it just becomes a pretty hostile environment.
See, I looked at, I could see how many people were there, and it's not enough to like, it wasn't few enough to make fun of Penn State for saying, oh, you always talk about how bring stuff out there and you guys will attend it like crazy. But at the same time, it was not full where, I don't know, you kind of got to give it to Penn State fans a little bit. I love giving it to them whenever I can, but
of course
it was not packed by any means. I know there was probably more floor seats than there are for a normal duel, I would imagine, but still you could tell there was a lot of room up there in the rafters.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was okay. I kind of listened to it on tape delay, so I didn't get a lot of the fan reactions. It didn't seem like it was overly ridiculous, but it sounded like they did a pretty good job being semi-loud, I guess. So, kind of indifferent on that, I guess, basically.
Yeah, obviously they're going to cheer for their guys. They were real loud for David Taylor, and he was kind of obviously the only Penn State guy that was there, which is interesting. They put it in Nebraska so that Burroughs and Green could wrestle in front of their home fans, but Penn State only had one guy in all of Final X, so it kind of shocks me that they didn't at least give, they don't really know who was going to be in it ahead of time, I guess, but surprising you don't give Ohio State a chance, or maybe there was a reason why they didn't, and that their scheduling didn't work out or something. But Penn State obviously didn't really go all in for the world team this year, which is fine. Those guys, if they needed a break, so be it. But to reward them with a Final X site's kind of backhanded now.
Well, looking back, that Final X was supposed to be David Taylor, Zane Rutherford.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I suppose you probably assume that Rutherford's going to at least try out for the team.
Uh-huh.
Well, let's talk about Rutherford's weight. 2 Ohio State guys wrestling in his weight at the gym, and he's there watching. It's just strange to me that you think that kind of. I wonder how hard that had to have been pretty hard for him, or maybe he's fine with, taking a year off. But you'd think the competitiveness in him would have trouble watching those 2 guys competing in his gym.
Sure. Yeah, he seems like he's the guy to kind of run headfirst into competition like that, not really back away. So, that had to have been eating at him not wrestling there.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I didn't see. I don't know if they panned him in the crowd at all. I didn't really see it, but
I don't think they did. But I saw they had brought him out there to give him his ring for being on the national or the world team champion team last year.
Uh-huh.
So he knew he was there. But do you think James Green saw my subtweet about that weight?
About 70, or are you talking 65? What are you talking
65
about here?
with him saying last week how, that's what happens when guys train together. They can't score points. It's really hard.
Sorry, I didn't even see that one. I would imagine so. What was your prediction? I was trying to think of it.
I said 3. I said it would go, I had Stieber in 3 matches.
No, but you had something where you said each guy individually is going to score more points than the entire series.
Yes, I said each guy in each match will score more points than those two combined in the entire series.
Well, other than McKenna getting shut out, you were probably close with the other 3 scores, weren't you?
Yeah, they're definitely because that series I thought went 2-0, 2-1. So I mean, you're looking at 5 points total in that whole series. So
yeah, so you almost nailed it.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I thought that I actually think McKenna out-wrestled Stieber in the first match. I thought he was in position to win it, but just that 2-2-1, I think could have easily been called just 2 points McKenna, but I'm fine with it being 2-2-1. But yeah, I mean, it was a good match, and Stieber, that 4-pointer was pretty nice.
See, I didn't think that series was really that close. Cause you had McKenna really only scored on 2 exchanges. And one of them was he got in on Stieber's legs, and Stieber kind of went big, going for a chest wrap, where if he just would have sat back and fought it, I think it would have been a stalemate at worst.
Mm-hmm.
So then Stieber ends up giving up some points. And then the other time, the next McKenna takedown was legit. But, in 2 matches, he really only scored on, like I said, 1 exchange, other than the one where Stieber got overly aggressive. So I actually saw that one totally different. I didn't think it was even that close. McKenna had nothing for Stieber defense. And it really showed in the second match. I think by far the better guy won that. So
yeah, I think so. I don't know. I kind of thought that maybe McKenna out-wrestled him in the first, but obviously, the score indicates the second one. It was hands down Stieber dominated it. And I definitely think the right guy is on the team.
Uh-huh.
I was very pleased to see the way that Logan wrestled that second one, and I think that gives you a little bit more confidence heading into the Worlds. But that first match, like, to me, is every bit that is wrong with Logan, but every bit that's awesome. Like, your 16 points got scored, which is really fun to watch. But from our representative to go out and give up 8 points is a little bit scary. But, he can score 8, but he can give up 8 just as easily. I think that's kind of an exact definition of what a Logan Stieber match usually ends up being, and I just think you wrestle too many of those, and you're gonna get beat in a couple of them.
No, I don't disagree with that, especially when you get in better competition at Worlds here. I think this series here was a great example, though, of what Final X actually brings you, though, because McKenna has that whole time to train just for Stieber instead of coming, well, I guess he would have been the guy sitting, but still, you have something like that where he has all this time to train for Stieber, but if it was same day World Team Trials where they got to turn right around and wrestle, I think the better guy blows him out, and then Stieber blows him out twice. So I think in your matches where it's tighter the first one than the better guy blows him out the second, I think that you can attribute that even being somewhat close to this new format that we have.
And I like the format. I think the format's good in that, it gives those guys that come through that trials bracket a chance to recover before they have to wrestle the most important match of their life.
Mm-hmm.
Question, and this is just hypothetical, but
yes.
Would you rather, right now, knowing what you know right now, would you rather have Stieber on the team or Rutherford? Obviously, we're not getting Rutherford on the team. He didn't want it this year, but what were you at?
I don't think you can go wrong with either guy. Obviously, Stieber's more fun to watch, so I mean that's probably strictly the reason I would favor him. But I don't know how well Rutherford's style as it is right now is gonna be for getting medals overseas. I don't know.
Do you see Rutherford as similar to Metcalf in the way like super dominant folk style wrestler, will hand fight you and beat the crap out of you, wear you out, and just kind of just dominate you in folk style. But at the international stage, that doesn't win you matches and it doesn't win you medals. And, you know, Metcalf had every opportunity to win a medal in the Worlds. And how many matches did he win in the World Championships? One?
Oh, man, yeah. It wasn't very many.
I mean, his record at the Worlds was not good. I
know the one year he lost to Takahashi first round. And then,
and he had bad draws. Like he didn't have easy guys right away. But that's the World Championships. There's very few easy draws in the World Championships. But I just wonder, like, obviously Metcalf is a very good wrestler all the way around. But to me, he's a much better folk style wrestler because he can utilize his greatest asset, which is his conditioning and his hand fighting.
I think that's a great example you brought up there. Just looking at Rutherford, he's probably best on top, you say, in folk style?
Yeah.
So you basically just throw that out the window in freestyle.
Yeah, it does you no good.
And really, those international guys, they can take a breather whenever they want. They can grab their ankle or their knee, and I don't think conditioning is as important as some other things, such as technique and whatnot, where in folk style maybe it is just as important.
Right. And I think, I mean, Rutherford's, like I said, two of his greatest assets are his hand fighting and his conditioning, the exact same thing as Metcalf. So I wonder, maybe he makes a couple teams, but is he the guy that can go win a medal? Logan proved it. Logan's got a world title. I know it's not at this weight, but he's got a world title. Like, he can go win on the international level. So I guess, at first when I asked that question, I think I was going to say I'd rather have Zane, but now I just talked myself into Logan.
I think, again, it's at the end of the day, though, it's close enough where they, you can't really be wrong either way. But, yeah, you pick the guy who has the world title as opposed to the guy who's been there and didn't do it.
Right.
So.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move up next week. Dake.
Yep.
Dake Zahid.
What do you have here?
Man, I love this match. I wish it would have went 3 so you could have watched him wrestle again. It was, I think we talked about it last week, but it's two completely different styles. You got the offense of Zahid and Dake's incredible defense, and at the end of the day, Dake's defense was better. And Zahid had every opportunity to score, and, there were more than a handful of times where I think he was so scared he was going to get chest wrapped and thrown that he just kind of sat down on it and just took stalemate and got out of it.
I don't understand watching some of these guys wrestle. I mean, obviously Dake makes it look easy, but I don't understand why more people don't use the crotch lift as a move for single leg, double leg defense. Dake makes it look so easy when he exposes guys off of that.
But I think Dake has the flexibility that a lot of people don't. I think he can sit back on his heels there and really he's got length, but he's like a long, strong, it's hard to, he's stronger when he's extended almost, it seems like, than most people are. You watch a lot of other people when they get their arms out away from their body, they don't have that strength where they can hit a crotch lift. But he's, that guy has to do yoga. There's no way he does not do yoga. Some of the stuff he can do defensively.
Actually, my wife kind of follows what he does. He does a lot of functional pattern stuff.
Okay.
And I think that's kind of a new thing you're going to be seeing. It's kind of similar to yoga, I guess, is you're not going in just bench pressing and curling. It's more kind of, like I said, functional patterns, a little more related to wrestling. So I think that's a lot of his success is attributed to that right there.
Do you think, I think the right guy won this weight, right? I mean, Dake was a better wrestler.
Yeah, I think the first match, the right guy won. I think looking back at the second match, what Zahid should have, this is in hindsight, like I don't really blame him for doing it in the moment, but he gets that takedown. I can't remember if it was the first or second period, but he was up 2-0. I think if he just kind of sits back, and just tries to, fight the last little flurry that Dake gives him, I think he wins that second match.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know it's obviously easier said than done, but get a takedown on Dake early and just kind of play a little defense and make him come to you.
Which Dake's offense is not the best, for sure.
Yeah.
You make him take those shots and it's a lot harder for him. But when you start shooting on him, that's where he's going to crush you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what maybe I worry about a little bit. And he's had success in the international level, but those foreigners they're not coming out and firing off 10 high C's a match.
Yeah.
They pick 2 or 3 attempts to score and they go all in on those attempts. You gotta be ready for them.
Yeah. So just looking back now, I think that was the way to beat him in that second match. And then, you go to the third match, you have no idea what happens, but I think that one could have been a little bit tighter. Maybe a little better match strategy.
I mean, it's crazy to think, like, we got, you got Mark Hall, who's a world champ, age level world champ, and is he fourth at this weight right now?
Who's the other guy?
Derringer?
Yeah, I'm still not that high on Derringer yet, I guess. I don't know, he kind of had a good half a year or so, maybe.
So you would take Hall over Derringer in a match?
Yeah. And I don't know if that's maybe just because Derringer isn't really flashy to me, and I always like to pick the flashy guys, but I would take Hall.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. It's incredible that that's a pretty good group of 4 guys at this weight that all will, in the next 2 years, need to decide if they're going up or down.
Mm-hmm.
And I would guess most of them go up.
Yeah, I know Dake. I was listening to an interview he did. This is probably a while ago now, but he made it sound like, yeah, he could still make 74. From what he said in that interview. I guess I can't really remember word for word what he said, but he was leaning that way, is what it sounded like.
It seems like him and Taylor have become pretty good friends.
Uh-huh.
So I would think, obviously, you'll do whatever it takes to make an Olympic team and screw your friends. Who cares? You're going to make an Olympic team, but yeah, if he thinks he can make it, I wonder if he would consider going down to take on Burroughs. I feel like Hall has said that he can't make it, right? But it's
74.
Yeah, when he made it for juniors, that was the last time that it was too hard. I don't see any way Zahid would make it.
Uh-huh.
So I feel like Hall and Zahid would go up, but I feel like Derringer would go down.
Is Mark Hall's head still growing? He's got a pretty big head on him, doesn't he?
He's got a good sized melon.
He's not quite Eddie Reiter range yet, is he?
Nobody's Eddie. Eddie wears the same hat size as Barry Bonds.
HGH steroided out Barry Bonds.
And Eddie. They're both like the exact same physical body shape,
Oh, Eddie. You gotta tell that Mike Trout story with Eddie.
That we can get to that. We'll get to that one. That's
okay. All right, we gotta save it. Okay.
Yeah, that is an all-time great story.
Okay.
I just gotta clean it up a little bit. There's certain things I can't say.
All right, we'll tease that for some other week, I suppose.
Yeah. Any of you Angel fans out there, don't miss an episode from now until episode number 100, because at some point we're gonna tell a great Mike Trout story.
It's so quick and simple, but it's hilarious. Okay, where are we at here wrestling-wise? Mark Hall's head size.
Mark Hall's got a big head.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're in a good spot in this weight. I'm excited for Dake to see what he can do. I I worry that in, like you said, first round of the Worlds, he gives up the first takedown, and then foreigners are going to shut down. And now he's got to go out and get a takedown to try and tie this thing back up. And I know he can do it. I mean, I think Kyle Dake can win a world title without a doubt. Like, he can go win Worlds this year. But maybe it's similar to my kind of opinion on Stieber. The guy could go 0-1 very easily.
Yeah.
And that's not, I just worry that, like you said, if he gives up that first takedown, those guys are so hard to wrestle from behind. And he is so good defensively that he can score, but they're not going to shoot once they have the lead.
I wish I had looked back and watched the match again, but I think he scored his winning points off of Zahid's shot later in that second match.
Yeah.
And I mean, not that he would have just stood there and let the clock run out without doing any offense,
right.
If it was close late. But yeah, I mean, he was not really close to scoring off his own offense, at least in the second match.
And he's got a great shot. I mean, Beat the Streets, he almost doubled that dude off the mat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that, I mean, was the best shot of that entire night. That was better than Burroughs' double on Chamizo. Like, he's got offense. It's just, he's a much better defensive wrestler, and he's impossible to beat when he's wrestling from the lead, I think. If he's got the lead, he's winning the match.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So.
Yeah, but then with a guy like Zahid, you got to start that shot from about 5 feet away because his reach is 4 foot.
Yeah. He's got some go-go gadget arms for sure.
Mm-hmm. So I guess what we're saying here is we'd like to see some more of this matchup, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm all excited. I hope, next year it'll be interesting to see what would happen. Do guys want to get that year before the Olympic season at the weight they're going to compete at, or are we going to have all 4 of these guys trying to make for this spot?
I think Taylor and Dake making a world team makes it more likely that they'll go to Olympic weights. I think if they'd have missed their shot, they might have tried again next year. Like, all right, let's get one world team under our belt here.
But if Dake wins a medal, he's got to buy into the finals next year, provided the format's the same. So he's got to buy at this weight into the finals, which is great. But then you also don't want to give Taylor a chance next year if you're going to go up, or Burroughs if you're going to go down, to win another medal next year, and then they're getting a bye no matter what you do at the in-between weight. You could win a world title at the in-between weight, but if those two get third, sorry, they're sitting to the finals, and you got to go through the tournament. And
I don't know. I guess I haven't thought about it that much. We'll know in a year.
Yeah.
How about that?
We're jumping way too far ahead. Dake looked good. I think we got the right guy on the team at that weight. As much as I'm excited to see what Zahid can do in the future, and I think he's going to be a great wrestler, Dake's earned this spot. It's his time. He's earned it. I want to see what he can do.
Yep. Agree. Okay. Next weight.
This was pretty much a beatdown. It was bad. I mean, everybody knew it was going to happen, but it's funny. I saw before the event, Flo just was talking about all the people that were wrestling, and they mentioned five of the freestyle guys, and they didn't mention Renan's name at all. And he tweeted he's like, hey, I'm wrestling in it too. It's just, I thought that was pretty funny that he just got no credit at all. And he went out and got the first takedown, and it was over. Taylor he hand fights so well and gets you out of position so well. And when you're out of position, he just picks you apart.
Yeah, the dude's good. He's proven it too. So, I guess what I was thinking is Rena gets that first takedown, and how many Penn State fans are kind of momentarily like, oh God, Bubba Jenkins all over again here.
Yeah.
And then he got to kind of a back arch situation almost, but Taylor kind of reached down and grabbed his leg, and it was 4 for Taylor, and that was pretty much the end of the series.
Yeah. I liked that he tried it, but it was not there at all.
Not when he threw it, it wasn't.
No. I love the attempt, though. Now, I mean, looking at this weight at the world level, I've got a lot of confidence in David Taylor to go. The only one in this weight I think that could beat him is Yazdani, and if they're on the opposite sides of the bracket, David Taylor's making the finals. He's going to make a world finals, and I think he can beat Yazdani in the right match.
Yeah, I mean, he tore him apart last time they wrestled. I'm sure Yazdani wasn't in world championship form necessarily, but
yeah,
it's got to be worth something.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't think of the other good guys off the top of my head. I haven't really looked at a world preview necessarily yet, so I can't think of the
Russia's
other
going to
guys.
have a good guy. Obviously Iran does with Yazdani, and but what did Taylor? Did he have Perez at or not Perez? South Perez. Who do you have at Pan Am's? The Cuban, right?
Is it Tobier? Is that his weight?
I thought didn't he have the guy that Jaden wrestled at Beat the Streets?
Oh God, this is great podcast right here. I don't remember. I don't know. I'd have to
But
look it up.
I think he won 3-2, right? In the finals at Pan Am's.
I think it's Tobier, isn't it?
Okay. Let's go with that, so we sound right.
Okay, there we go. Nobody's gonna look. Most of the people that don't listen don't know anyways. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there wasn't really much to say on that one. Rena had the first takedown. The rest was Dave Taylor. So, I guess that pretty much sums up what happened with the men.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we're probably not going to go too crazy into the women's matches, but the women showed up again. They had some of the most entertaining matches. You had Rachel Waters and Claudio. They went 3 matches, and it was back and forth, basically right down to the end of that third match. So,
yeah, I mean, I love that we got a series that went 3 matches, and Rachel Waters is close. It was really close, but cool for the state of Iowa to get another world team member.
No, she didn't make it. She's a national team member.
Right, would have been pretty cool though if they had gotten another one.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, she's so young too. I think they showed Claudio was like 27, Rachel Waters is 20, so.
Holy cow. She's going to be around for a while, I think.
Yeah, she can't even go out and celebrate at the bars yet after she wins.
And that's why you do it, right? To get to go celebrate?
Yeah, that's the only reason you wrestle right there.
Right.
That's what I did anyways, I guess, so.
Some of us celebrated a little too much.
Okay. Then you had Adeline Gray. She walked through, what was her name? I can't remember the girl's name. Yeah, she walked right through her. And then the other match, actually, Kayla Miracle and Mallory Velty, that went 3 matches as well. So you had 2 great women's series in that Final X. Okay. That's pretty much the end of that one. You have anything else?
No.
State College?
No, we got another one down, 2 down, 1 to go.
2 down, 2 to go. Because we're going to have a Final X, I don't know, insert the town name since.
I think it's going to go to New York. Well, that's not true. I bet it's Fargo. Final X Fargo.
There we go. You think the Flow guys are going to load up from Bethlehem and then go to Fargo on the road trip?
No, I hope that road trip ends. Those guys need to get to a shower. They need to get out of that van.
I think they should load back up. They should fly back. They should fly Caleb Piles back in, Christian's son, to finish the thing up.
I like that he's got a Twitter account now. He seems to be having a good time. He was having a blast with Joe Russell's son Taft.
Really?
Yeah, that was Taft Russell that he'd been hanging out with at State College.
How cool would that be if you're that age?
Yeah, that would be a pretty awesome experience.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be the coolest thing ever, especially at that point in your life. Like, there's just nothing compares.
Right. Yeah, I mean, those are like all of his idols, and even he got to stop in Iowa City and see Spencer Lee. He got to, he saw every one of like I think he's obviously I think he's a very big wrestling fan. His dad probably talks about it a lot, so I imagine that was I would have enjoyed that experience at 10.
For sure.
Or however old he is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Final X Bethlehem. Is that how you say it?
Yep.
Bethlehem, whatever.
Lehigh. Let's go Final X Lehigh.
There we go, Lehigh. You have 3 remaining freestyle weights, and then you'll only have, I guess, 3 of the women's weights, because you'll have the other one wherever in Fargo, like you said, probably. And then we actually have the true third matches. Oh, one more thing we were going to say. I guess just quick, the start time at 5 threw me off for the state college Final X. I don't know what the heck the deal was there. I was not ready for that. And you said you had to be informed by someone earlier in the day that it was an hour earlier. So I don't know if that was like a scheduling mistake or what, but that was weird. Because then this next one's at 6. So
yeah, it's right back at 6 like the other one. So either way.
I don't know. Just a weird point we were talking about earlier. So, okay. Anyways, we'll go right into 61 kilograms, your lowest freestyle weight. You got Joe Colon and Nashawn Garrett. What are you thinking there?
Give me Joe Colon, man. That guy's he's my guy. I've stuck my head in ice receptacles with him before. I think he's not going to get a lot of credit, and I think a lot of people are going to pick Nashawn because everybody just thinks Nashawn's really good or should have this super high freestyle ceiling that he's never once hit. I think Joe Colon's really good strategically, and he can hit a big move if he needs it. This match, okay, I can guarantee this match, both guys are going to score more than the entire series of James Green and Jason Chamberlain.
Pretty close last time. We'll see if you get it this time.
These guys are definitely going to put some points on the board. I'm really excited for this one. It doesn't have the prestige or the credentials of Zahid versus Dake, but as far as an entertainment perspective goes, this one's going to be an awesome one to watch. And I'm taking Joe Colon 2-0.
I don't think I really have too much more to add on that. If I have to take somebody, I'm going to take Cologne. Okay, so I got one question for you, though, here. Who do you think this favors more, having weeks to prepare for the other guy?
I don't know if it necessarily favors either one. Nashawn obviously has plenty of time to get, it's been, 4 weeks since Rochester. So they know exactly what Cologne's going to do, and Cologne knows exactly what Nashawn's going to do. But I think both guys' offenses are so good that they're still going to score points. I don't think either guy gets a bump having 4 weeks to prepare for the other one, strictly for that guy. I don't think either guy's in the training environment where they necessarily have the support staff around them to truly dissect somebody down to their core where they can really pick it apart. I really think that helped Gilman, that they were able to pick Dayton Fix apart completely from a skill set standpoint ahead of time, and they had an answer to everything Dayton Fix did. I don't know that, nothing against the Valley RTC or Sunkist Kids or what they got going on out at Arizona State, but I just feel like, I don't think that either one is necessarily better.
All what you just said makes sense, and I'm not smart enough to add anything more smart to it, so we'll go with that. Okay. On to 92 kilograms.
Are you worried? I guess one thing I wonder is, like, I worry that people are just going to forget about this weight because we've got our world team shaping up where we've got some big names on this team. We've got a lot of returning world medalists, and then the weights that we don't have are returning world medalists. We've got like the two most influential people with Dake and Taylor, like where their names are, they're always talked about. They're always in the spotlight. I just worry that no matter who makes this team, whether it's Nashon or Joe Colon, that they're just going to be the forgotten guy. And maybe that's fair. Maybe it's, I think we're a long ways from earning a world medal at this weight, but I just hope that I think this is going to be a fun one to watch, especially this match. So I hope it's just not like, well, we're not going to do anything at 61, so this doesn't matter.
I guess I'm excited about it, but at the same time, from like a preview perspective, we've seen it twice now this year. So like, there's really nothing more new for me to add, just from like a podcast perspective. So it's just like, hey, seen it twice. I can't wait to see it again. There you go.
Yep.
And I guess that's really that. So
okay,
that's kind of how I look at it. All right. A very boring explanation for me. Okay. 92 kilograms.
I'll let you go first here so you can.
Hayden Zillmer.
Yeah.
Okay.
You.
Zillmer's your guy. Your Minnesota guy, right?
Yep.
I think if Zillmer's smart, he's going to make this a one exchange match, right down to the end. Kind of like Cox, or kind of like Dake was, it's easier said than done to get a lead, but if you can somehow pick your spot, and get a really solid takedown attempt in there, I don't know, maybe a push out, that could be the match right there, because you don't think it's going to be high scoring. So, I guess from a prediction perspective, you got to pick Jay until he gets beat, but I would not feel confident in that if my life was depending on it.
I think that Jaden's an easy favorite. I think the only way Hayden wins this match, like you said, it's a low scoring, it's a one exchange, but the first 5 minutes and 30 seconds have to be an absolute war of a hand fight. And I think that's the only, you gotta just battle him and battle. And you may give up a point for passivity in a shot clock violation, but you gotta keep hand fighting the whole time. That's the only way I think that he can win this match. And it's going to come down to getting him tired and then scoring at the end. And you know what? Maybe you're not even trying to win the first match. Maybe you're just trying to make the first, that, it probably favors him in the first match, but I'm going to go 6 minutes as hard as I possibly can, hand fight as hard as I possibly can. And then knowing the second match is going to start the same way, and I'm going to go 5.5 minutes of hard fighting as hard as I possibly can, and hope that I can take him down in the last 30 seconds to force a match 3, and then same idea. Wear him out, take him. Hayden trains so incredibly hard, and the kid is in phenomenal shape. He's not going to get tired. I think that's the only way I think he's going to beat him.
No, I agree. I think, like you said, it's got to be a war. I think it can't be like a Zahid Valencia type match where you just get off shot after shot after shot. It's got to be like a hand fight, like you said. Maybe not really committing, but just trying to tire him out.
Mm-hmm. Make him react, fakes, in, out, push, pull, snap. That's the only. I kind of think about like when I was wrestling in college. If I was only losing 2-1 after the first period, I always thought that was a win. I thought that was I won that period, even though I was losing. I just felt like I know I'm going to wear this guy down in the third, so only being down 1, hey, that's not that bad.
Uh-huh.
And I just think that that's kind of the attitude that Zillmer's got to take. Like, I don't care if I'm down 1-0 after 4 minutes. That's perfect. That's exactly where he wants to be.
I think in closing, I would, like I said, I got to pick Jaden here, but I would say I wouldn't even go as far as saying I wouldn't be surprised to see Zillmer knock him off.
Yeah, I would be surprised.
You'd be surprised?
Yeah, I like Hayden. I think he's awesome for the sport and the way he trains and carries himself and the way he's willing to just, I'll go wrestle Greco, I'll go wrestle freestyle, I'll wrestle anything. But I think that he's just at a little bit of a disadvantage in his skill set here, that Jaden's has another extra level that he just doesn't have.
Well, you painted yourself in the corner there because you picked Jaden straight up. I picked both guys again, so I'm going to be right regardless.
Smart.
Okay, on to the big boys. Nick Wisdowski, Adam Kuhn.
Yeah. Gosh, this one is interesting, man. Gwiazdowski has the athleticism. Kuhn has the size. Kuhn really impressed me between the Open and the trials. And I know Gwiz is coming off a third place in the Worlds and has really looked good and really has not had any, real letdown performances that I can remember off the top of my head. But maybe it's recency bias. I don't know. I'm really interested to see how Kuhn can handle Gwiz and how Gwiz can handle Kuhn's size. I mean, Gwiz isn't small by any means, but he's not Kuhn. And those legs, man, they're so big, they're so strong. I'm interested. I really am to see how this goes. You go, and then I'll think about who I'm picking here.
Could you see this kind of being a boring match, though?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's heavyweight. There's always a chance it could be boring. But this could be 2-1 very easily. I mean, this could be exactly like Jaden and Hayden. I mean, there might not be a lot of scoring here. It's funny. We're going to get one match that will probably give us 30 points and two matches that will probably give us 3 each.
Yeah, that could very well be it. I don't know if I'm just tiring out here from predictions for Final X or what, but I just feel like these guys are just so even again that I really can't offer much up on analyzing who's better. I think when whoever wins this match goes on to get silver or bronze at Worlds, they just write Nick Gwiazdowski / Adam Kuhn on the bracket, and they can both stand up there and both get a medal because to me they're just dead even. Maybe they can even rotate matches at the World Championships. I don't know if they'll allow them to do that or not.
Keep them fresh.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be smart if Bill Zadick could somehow figure out how to do that. You would think.
Yeah. I feel like there should be an extra large mat for these two. Because, if Adam Kuhn takes, 2 steps, he's out of bounds. I mean, I don't know. I feel like we're going to get a lot of push-outs here. Well, I guess I shouldn't say a lot, but I feel like that's where 75% of the scoring is going to come from. Push-outs and shot clock violations in this series.
There'll be a lot of sweat because this match is I think it happens after Jaden's match, so there'll be sweat all over the mat. Big guys sweat already as it is.
Yeah. Fortunately, you got 2 women's matches between Jaden and Gwiz, so hopefully there's some evaporation there that handles the mat. It's going to be just like Beat the Streets. They're going to be out there with towels in the intermission trying to dry off the mat.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to give me Gwiz, 2 matches.
Like I said, these are so even. So I'll take Kuhn just because you took Gwiz.
Let's go. One of us is going to be right.
There we go.
Whoever's wrong has to close out the episode next week.
Okay, there we go. So basically the only way this podcast could be wrong next week is if Garrett wins, because we pick the other 5 guys to win. So, good. Bases covered. There we go. Oh, man. You wouldn't know what to do if you got to close this podcast out. Okay.
I'll figure it out.
You want to touch on any of these women's matches?
I mean, we got some definitely some good matches. I think, Haley, I don't know how to say her last name, Augello.
Yeah, I think so.
That's going to be a good one. Both those girls have been around for a little while now and both pretty dang good. Yeah. I mean, it's, we talked about this before we came on. I'm disappointed that Helen's not wrestling in this. I was excited to watch her. I really do like watching Helen wrestle, and obviously that's a bad take probably, that I don't watch a lot of the other ones, and maybe I should give her more of a chance, but some of that stuff Helen can do, man. She's so technically gifted, that it's extremely entertaining to see how she can, she's not afraid she can scramble out of positions and stuff, and, it's pretty high level stuff that she can pull off, and, she would fit right in there with those guys. It'd be very entertaining to watch it. I just think that, and obviously she did everything right, like you said, followed all the rules, She got injured. It's her right as a returning world champ to request a later wrestle off. And I assume it'll probably be Fargo if she's healthy by then. Traditionally, they try to do it at another event. Like, they're not going to just do those two meet and wrestle on a standalone event. Traditionally, they try to take it somewhere. I don't think, she's not going to be ready by junior duels, obviously, which is this weekend. So hopefully by Fargo in a month, she's ready to go. But yeah, I mean, that's the big thing. It's disappointing that we won't have her to watch.
Yeah, that was definitely going to be the highlight of the women's here. But like you said, even Julia Salata, she's pretty tough. Hildebrand, Ayala, like you said. And I mean, all these names you've heard of before. I guess one thing I kind of wanted to say after watching some of these Final X, events is it's great for exposure for these women because you get so many more eyes on these matches that wouldn't even think twice to watch. And I think just quickly, I think that they almost need to maybe even consider making 4 Final X's and throwing the Greco weights in too, because you're just going to get so many more people to watch. And like, I don't know if we ever said on the podcast, we kind of talked before, the days at the World Championships where the women wrestle, I don't necessarily make it a point to stay up at night or watch those matches. I'll just kind of check results after they're done. Mm-hmm. But now having watched some of these women, and actually, putting a face with it and knowing kind of what some of these women do, I will definitely be looking out more for it and try to watch some of these women. So
does Greco, do you think, do they regret not, I'm not saying they declined to participate in Final X, but do you think they regret not being a part of this?
I would think so. I mean, the only people that would ever really know exactly how many people are watching some of this stuff is the Flow guys, but it's got to be making a killing compared to what summer wrestling does normally.
Because the Greco trials are this weekend, right, down at Junior Duels?
Oh, God, are they? Yeah, they probably are. I'm pretty sure.
And what have we haven't seen anything on it because you can't tell a story. And that's the kind of the nice thing about Final X is that it's given us time to build up the guys that are competing, the girls that are competing. You got 2 people, and one of them's going to be the world team member. So you got 4 weeks to sell us on the Jaden Cox, Hayden Zilmer match. And, you can kind of build a story around these 2 wrestlers. Whereas, and the Greco trials I'm pretty sure they're this weekend. And it's sad that I don't even know when the Greco trials are.
Yeah.
Because I thought Kuhn was going to wrestle in the trials and then fly up to Final X, right?
I just know with the Ramos thing, there was something where the true third may be wrestling in the trials. So yeah, well, I mean, we don't even know. So yeah, that's the problem.
Flow, I haven't seen Flow, and now that's not their fault. They don't have to, but I haven't seen like a preview of the Greco trials at all. And, we've got all kinds of Final X coverage, which is great because it's Flow's. They're really pushing it, and it seems I'm on board with Final X. I think it's working. I like your idea of add Greco next year and go 4 sites because I don't want to, if you add Greco and it's 3 more matches per site, now you just 3 best of 3 series, you maybe just added an extra 45 minutes to an hour to each site, and I don't want to do 4 hours at a night. I don't think you're going to lose fans that way. But if you split it up over 4 sites, now you've got, maybe you have 3 hours. And I think most fans can do 3 hours. I can sit down from 6 to 9 and watch wrestling with it being freestyle Greco and women's. But trying to get 4 hours in there just gets a little long.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I think that's a way to look at it for sure. Unless somebody can poke holes in that. But I thought about it for a while, and I think it'd be pretty slick. You got plenty of time working up to the World Championships here, so it's not like we're trying to cram it in.
Right. The only reason I would say it wouldn't work is if guys want to double up. If you got the Adam Coons and Hayden Zilmers and now Tony Ramos, Greco Supreme.
But even, it'd still work, wouldn't it? If that happened where 2 guys were in the same, and maybe it was scheduled.
The weights different?
Yeah, maybe they were scheduled to be at one site and say, okay, we're going to make an adjustment.
Or you openly say, like, no, 92 kgs will not be competed at the same Final X for Greco and freestyle. The freestyle weight, or Greco weights are different, but, they're going to be far enough apart that nobody would cross over.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to double up, and so be it, you wrestle Greco one weekend and all of a sudden the next weekend you got freestyle, that's the choice you make for trying to do both. But I like it. I like you said, we talked about, we can build a story around these people. Now I know the names of some of these freestyle women, and maybe we're more inclined to watch it at the World Championships.
Mm-hmm. So we'll expect USA Wrestling to send our check in the mail for giving more ideas again.
We're just fixing everything. Started with Iowa High School, and now we're on to USA Wrestling.
It's all fixed.
Let's go to the World Championships then and get rid of Repeshires like that. I'm done with that.
I love it though. It's fine.
0-1 is so anticlimactic, man. You can't train for 6 months, travel halfway across the world, and get beat out in 4 minutes. It's so depressing.
I don't like it. I was joking. I was thinking of the uneven bracketing that you don't like, that I like.
All right. Let's best of 3 or the third place matches. Anything on them?
Well, we have our boy wrestling. The only pro Pat Downey podcast there is. So I can't remember who he's wrestling, but I'm picking Pat.
Richard Perry. He's wrestling Richard Perry.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm taking Pat for sure. He's ready for this. He wants to make a national team. There's a chance that Zach Sanders, Andy Simmons, Pat Downey, and Austin Schaefer all make national teams this year. Those are not.
See those guys training in Colorado Springs and then going right to the bar right afterwards.
Those are not big time names, and they all got. I think they all have tough matches here, obviously, but they all have a chance to be top 3 on the ladder, and that's crazy to me. Andy Simmons is 2 spots away from being our world team member. If that were to, it didn't happen, but if that would have happened, we automatically have to file a petition and ask Rutherford to try out, right?
I think so.
Jesus, that's way too close. He cannot be that close to being a world team member. Yeah.
Yeah, just one headbutt with the other 2 guys wrestling from both being unconscious and
training together. Yeah,
you're the guy.
You know that Stieber and McKenna are still going to keep training together.
Yep.
What if they get in a scramble situation, double ACL tear this summer, and now Andy Simmons is wrestling on World Championships?
Oh, that'd be great though.
Oh man! All right, we got some news we want to talk about a little bit with Jason Renteria transferring over to Iowa.
Yep.
Your thoughts?
I guess I don't really understand why. I guess I think Iowa's pretty well set at 133, 141. Hey, if he thinks this is the place for him and it works out for him, great. On the front end, I'm going to say that. If this is what you think, do it. But, he's jumped around so many times now that, to me, when I see guys do that, it's just go D3 if you really still want to wrestle or something, or I don't know. If you're getting a great education, whatever. I guess that's probably more important, but I know I've heard some people say maybe he's going to redshirt next year or this year and they'll work it in, but I don't know. You're just a guy that's kind of had maybe some troubles with school or weight. You're just kind of kicking that can further down the road where he's maybe even going to be less likely to want to do some of that stuff. So I'm not real excited about it because I just don't see him contributing, I guess, minus an injury. What do you think?
How many different places did he commit to when he was in high school? Didn't he flip his commitment 5 times?
Was it Iowa, Illinois, Nebraska, Iowa? No?
Yeah.
Was there anything else in there?
I can't remember. I think it was mixing between those 3. Like you said, to me, I talked to Mark Manning a little bit when he was up there. He came up to Pinnacle to do some recruiting, some of our guys, and I got the chance to sit down and talk to him about it. It was right after the news broke that Renteria asked for a release and wanted out of there, and he couldn't obviously go into it too much and didn't want to say too much about him, but I got the feeling that maybe they were under the impression that a change of scenery might be best for both sides. I think that, and kind of looking back at it with how many times he's flipped his commitment, maybe he's got some growing up to do, I guess I would say. And also playing in not making weight at NCAAs, which again blows my mind. You can't, how do you not? I know you're a true freshman. You're 18 or 19 or whatever you are. You're young. You make mistakes, but you cannot make that mistake. There's no excuse for that mistake. And I don't understand it. And if you're really going to have this kid redshirt and everything I've seen from an outsider's perspective, I think this kid maybe lacks a little maturity or a lot of maturity. Having that kid redshirt with no direction is a terrible idea. And really, one of him or DeSanto probably does need a redshirt. You're pretty high on Mirren, right? I mean, it seems like everybody is.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's got he's not at his ceiling yet, and he's already probably ahead of the pack, maybe just slightly, but still.
So he's your 41-pounder. That's the guy you want in there. So now, you figure out who's your 33-pounder. And whether it's DeSanto or Renteria, and, one of them ain't making the lineup unless, you're going to redshirt one of them. But I think kind of the same situation. Both these kids need structure, and, maybe I think one of them's not going to work out. One of them's going to be very upset with the situation, and one of them's not working out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
I guess I always, you're the guy that was there and did it, and I'm kind of the guy that's the fan that looks at it. But to me, it's just, I feel like some of these guys maybe lack some self-awareness of where they stand. Like, obviously, you always want to be the best, but, like, if I'm a decent 49-pounder, I'm not going to go to Penn State and be like, I can beat out Zane Rutherford.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, you got to have a little self-awareness, right? And I know that's an extreme example, and we're not really talking about that here, but still, man, like, DeSanto, that guy beat almost everybody at that weight last year, and everybody expects him to just take off this year. Even Mirren, same thing. So I don't know. I mean, there's got to be something more going on there too. If you get a good education from Iowa, and that's the worst thing that can happen, you're not doing too bad. But
no, I mean, yeah, that's awesome byproduct of it. I think, I don't fault Iowa at all for bringing him in. It does you no wrong. And I would guess that even adding both DeSanto and Mirren, or DeSanto and Renteria, I doubt they gave up much scholarship. Both these guys were kind of on the outs, or especially Renteria was on the outs with his current school, and I think that you probably got him at pretty cheap cost, because I don't know that they had a ton of options. Everybody wanted them, but at what cost? Maybe I'm speaking more on Renteria's aspect, because just, that the lack of making weight at NCAAs is purely a discipline thing, where, DeSanto's debacle at NCAAs is a whole nother story. And I think that, I don't know, my take is, I think one of them's ego is going to be hurt. One of them's going to be upset about the situation. It's not all going to be sunshine and roses, and we're just going to redshirt one guy and the other guy's going to redshirt the next year, and then one of them's going to bulk up, and then everybody's going to be happy. It won't go down like that. Somebody's, I saw the same thing you talked about, how there was like one guy was taking an Olympic red shirt, and then the other guy was going to take a regular red shirt. And people are not going to delay their college career till they're 28 just so that they can make the lineup. Like, it is not going to work like that. I think both these guys transferred to Iowa because they want to wrestle right now. I doubt either one wants to redshirt. So if they're not going to redshirt, one of them's not making the lineup.
Yeah, I agree. Everything said, I think we're pretty much on the same page there. It'll be interesting to see what happens, I guess. All right.
Yep.
Anything else?
No, I think that's pretty good. We're at about an hour 5. Should we maybe wrap it up?
Yeah, we've been jabbering way too long, man. Really, what are we going to do when we get into the season and there's actually like a lot of wrestling to talk about?
Maybe it'll stop me from going off on my tangents.
Like 4-hour podcasts.
The people are going to love that.
Yeah, the first half hour till they just go, all right, that's enough.
We're not going to have enough time for me to tell the Eddie Mike Trout story in the season, so that'll have to be done before season.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna have to sneak that in there. Another thing we need to sneak in is we need to give a shout out to Elite Sports again for our awesome logo that we have.
Absolutely.
Hit those guys up. All kinds of shirts and logos they'll do for you. They do a great job. Tell them we sent you.
Give all the business to Patty Rhodes.
Yep, all the business, Patty Rhodes. You know, if you really want, if you can't get a hold of them, you know, you can always find us on Facebook or whatever. We'll send you in that direction. Or Elite Sports Online, you'll be able to find them. I don't know their exact website. That's probably something you should do when you're saying a sponsor, but just Google it.
Yeah.
I Google everything.
Google will get you where you need to be.
That's how I get through my
Elite
job.
Sports
I just Google stuff all day long. Like, all right, how do I get grass to grow? Google. Oh, that's how you do it.
Your resume just says Eric Schares, proficient in Google.
Google me. All right.
No.
Jabbered enough.
Yep.
As always, rate podcasts. We've been getting a couple more ratings.
I left us a review.
Oh, I did see that. That was great. I actually laughed out loud at that. That was pretty funny. The best podcast that I'm currently co-hosting. All right, so leave funny reviews like that. Just be a funny person in general. Give us 5 stars, not 2 stars like that Dingleberry that gave us 2.
See, I'm not, again, you keep, I'm not mad about that. If we're a 2-star podcast, give us a 2-star podcast, man. Rank us like we are.
I suppose. Well, I wanted to jump us to the top of the charts, and then people can be a little bit more.
Okay, get the name out there a little bit.
Yeah, and then we'll do it that way.
Okay.
But, all right, guys. Looking forward to Final X Lehigh this weekend. Thanks for listening. Find us on, Twitter, whatnot. Talk to us. Tell us what you think. And that's all I got.
Cheers.